Now it's live. All right, it's Monday, November the 10th, 2025 at 6:30. Let the City of Grantville work session meeting come to order. Mr. Grieshaber, start us off.
Well, the first item is discussion on first reading of ordinance number 2025-17 to amend the zoning ordinance, Article 5, Section 5.3, permitted use schedule, Table 5.3, use schedule to add data centers as a permitted use in general, commercial, light manufacturing, and general industrial zoning districts.
Okay, and let me add, and Mark's looking up, so there's a discussion that you all have to decide whether when we add these, that they're permitted or special use. Planning and zoning put them in as special use. Mr. Mitchell believes it should be special use. Mr. Grieshaber and I think it should just be permitted. But we're going to let you decide, and here's the gating factor on that, and I'm going to go into this just a little bit tonight, is that if and when we get to that point of, let's just use Google, Google's ready to put a data center in, there's going to have to be a contract for the electricity, a contract for the water, a contract for the gas. It's going to have a building spec contract as well. So you all will all have to approve that anyway, so we can either say, hey, you'll be approving the special use at that point, which is fine. Or we can call it permitted. Mr. Mitchell, can you just add a little more on the liability on that?
Sure. In addition, so the ordinance, the recommendation of the Planning Commission and the ordinance that I've prepared for your consideration, in addition to adding data centers to the permitted use schedule, also amends section 3.3 of the zoning ordinance to include a definition of a data center. So, as the mayor indicated, it's a recommendation of the Planning Commission. I think the city engineer recommends, and I recommend, that you include, that you make this revision and allow data centers in the general commercial, light industrial, or general industrial zoning districts as a special use. That would allow you to consider and have any application for the location of a data center in one of those zoning districts would have to come before the council for the council to consider putting in place any special conditions that you might want to put in place. If you don't have that, then it's a permitted use and it would just go there under the terms of the zoning ordinance and whatever conditions might be in place in the zoning ordinance for that zoning district, which may or may not address any or all concerns that there might be about a specific location. So I just believe that it provides you with an opportunity to put in place conditions if you feel they need to be. You could say, we don't believe there need to be any other conditions and allow it to go forward, but it gives you that opportunity. And
Howard, just to keep pointing out, yeah, they could go build a data center, but they don't get any electricity because that has to be permitted by the city because we're providing the electricity, and because of the nature of these data centers, it is a special use case for electricity. It's not like hooking up a home. So let me stop here. and, because I have more I want to talk about with this, any questions about that piece of it?
And I agree with what the mayor says there, but there may be other conditions, setback conditions.
Buffers.
Things of that nature that you wanted to put in place that if you didn't do it as a special condition, you wouldn't be able to do.
Okay.
And I will tell you one thing we are not going to do what the county's doing, because I think they're doing it ludicrously, that we're going to put all these conditions in place as part of our zoning. We're going to take each one, because each one is a different piece of property. And we're going to look at what the nature of the location of the property dictates, more so than put some of these very stringent things in. So any questions between special use and permitting? Just that piece? Any? Okay, I want to touch on data centers. And obviously, it's a hot topic. I went on a trip this weekend. I actually went on to a MEAG meeting because I thought it was important. I went to the Mayor's MEAG Summit. And just for the record, the only expense was my hotel room. I didn't charge the city anything else. It was a great meeting, a very important meeting, because the topic was data centers. The topic was transmission, power generation, what's going on, the goods, the bads, the things that everybody had, and I was involved in all the conversations. So it really was a very good meeting. I always said I'd never go to one of these things unless we could get something out of it. So I'm just kind of giving you back that there was a tremendous amount of information. As an example, right now in the state of Georgia, we don't have generation to support data centers. MEAG is looking at building 2 power plants at Wansley. It'll take them 5 years. But that's about the time it would take for us to even get a data center up. And they're looking at how that gets funded. And of course, us being one of the MEAG members, we pull into the liability on that. So there's a lot of discussion going on around that, okay? And I also want to do this about data centers in general, because you all read all this stuff about it. I read one post today on Facebook that they cause cancer. No, they don't. Does your computer at home cause cancer? No. And let me put this out, because people will watch this. I'm not going to call myself an expert, but I'm a very well-versed in data centers. As you all know, I'm 35 years corporate America, information technology, telecommunications. I worked for a company from 2000 to 2003. We built 7 data centers, not to this size, but it's still the same concept, practice. People talk about, well, here's the bad part about data centers. They use a lot of electricity. Absolutely. That's good for Grantville. That's good for Grantville. They use water. They don't use nearly the amount of water they used to use. That's good for Grantville too. The bad thing, they don't hire a lot of people. But a lot of people don't want a lot of traffic. There's some truck traffic when it's being built, but I'll show you the locations and show you there'll be no truck traffic coming through the middle of downtown Grantville. And we'll have construction workers who'll be eating in restaurants. Maybe we'll get some more places opened up. And there's some other little crazy things, noise. Well, the only noise is going to come from their air conditioning units. That's it. And we're Grantville. One of the locations is right next to I-85. The other location is on the far, far side of the city. And we have the CSX train roll through 15 times a day. You want noise? There is no noise. Stand in the middle of Brash Park in the summertime. There's some noise. Air conditioning's running. All right. Let's talk about the electricity for a minute and about what's going on. So there are 2 locations that are under consideration for data centers. If you look on the map, way up in, let's see how we define it there. Do you see the big red piece of property that's zoned commercial? Not on this side of I-85, where there's nothing there. It's owned by a doctor. We're conducting currently a transmission study on how to get the power there. All right. That should be coming out in the middle of December, and that's how to get the transmission of the power and to build a substation there. We also have down in the lower left corner, the Scarborough property, where the sewage treatment plant is going. That's a cluster of data centers where there's also a transmission study going on. Now that's step 1. what is the transmission? Can we get it there? Number two, how much does it cost? Now, everybody will go, oh, my rates are gonna go up to pay for all this. Wrong. All the transmission being built out is paid for by the developer and or the end user. The city of Grantville rate users will not pay for that. And I'll tell you, I talked to the developer, he said, you know, Mayor, if it comes in under 100 million, we'll write a check. It's that much money they're talking about. They will pay for that, okay? So there's no cost to that. Also, I read somewhere we're going to cause brownouts. No, it won't. It's going to be on its own separate power grid, separate from the cities, all right? The water will be brought in by Coweta County, like we get it today. It'll come from a different piping. Sewage, it'll go into the sewage lines, and they will contribute to building the sewage out to our sewage treatment plant. And oh, by the way, down the other side, who's building the sewage treatment plant? That's taken care of. Natural gas. The other great thing is they're right next to Spectrum and Comcast fiber lines. They need that. That's really important in a data center. We had AT&T in here today talking about another project. When I told them what we're getting ready to do, the guy piped up and said, man, we need to get fiber built into here, don't we? I said, yes, you do. Okay? Now, I don't frankly see, and yes, it is a process. You better do it right. You better negotiate the deals right. And FYI, I've negotiated very large telecom deals. Mr. Mitchell can help on this. We have enough people around to get that done to where we don't have any issues. What's the benefit to the city? What's the benefit to citizens of Grantville? This is going to be I'm going to be very down in my number, but if we were to get half the buildings built that are being proposed, the electricity alone, which would be a net revenue positive, not the total revenue coming from them, but what's after cost contributed to the city, $200 million a year. I can add the taxes that'll be coming in, I can add the water. The amount of money coming to the city is a game changer. What will it cost the city? Nothing. They provide their own security. We don't have to add police officers. We don't. Fire. They don't want water anywhere near a data center. They have halon systems. Security, I mean, all these things you hear are totally bogus things about the bad parts. Now, I do agree. Don't put them next to a residential neighborhood. Don't put them next to a school. Totally agree. But our two locations are nowhere near any human beings. And that's the beauty of why we're set up to do this. And there's no guarantees they're coming. Maybe we can't get the transmission here. We still have to talk about the generation. But man, if you talk about something that would be a game changer for Grantville, the funds, we could repave all the roads, all the neighborhoods. We could, upgrade some of our utilities. And I will come out and freely say it. They talk about, oh, well, by the way, the extra generation will be paid for by the end user, not our current residents. And once it's in place, I'll just come out front and say it. I believe I'm going to lower the electric rates 3 cents a kilowatt hour to all of our residential and commercial users. All right, so I've gone through my spiel on data centers. Questions? Questions?
I don't have any.
Not currently. Councilman Berry, any questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're talking about the benefit to the city
Mm-hmm.
and its increase in the revenue that we'll receive for utilities
And taxes.
and taxes.
Mm-hmm. They pay property tax. They have, I had one person, I believe it was the city of LaGrange, they have one underway now. I think he said to me, just on the fees alone of the construction, all the things they have to pay to the city, I think they've collected $3 million so far. I think that's what he told me. On the fees alone. That's not taxes, that's fees. So go ahead.
So all the complaints that have been registered for the surrounding area, you said that all those are bogus?
Well, let me be very clear. Project Sale is being built in a bad location. That's my opinion purely. That's being built next to residential communities. Totally agree that that could be a bad scenario. I'm not so sure about the other project. I haven't really studied that one so much. But a lot of the other stuff people are complaining about or talking about is false information. False information. Totally false. And there are certain groups behind stopping data centers that are more of a political aspect, more so than reality.
Okay, now this is on the agenda as, first reading,
Yes,
and when it comes up on the next agenda,
we got, it's four meetings, it's a zoning thing, so it has to go through, and there'll be a public hearing. Yeah, and all we're doing, folks, is adding the category to the zoning table. You're not approving a data center project. You're simply saying, yes,
If one comes and submits, we can consider it.
correct.
and there'll be a public hearing at the next meeting,
Public hearing will be in December.
December.
And I welcome the public to come. I welcome the public to call me personally. If they would like for me to hold a town hall, I will be glad to and go into great depths of detail on data centers, on the technology, on the need for them, the differences between data centers that support streaming, the data centers that support applications on your phone, and the differences of data centers for AI. The technology is different in all of them. The equipment being used, as an example, in a lot of the data centers they're modeling after, they use CPUs in the boxes. Well, data centers use MPUs, and it's much more of a transactional data. But, and frankly, we had a discussion. What they're finding out is that these companies are basing their electric models on current data centers, and they're finding really they're having to use about half the amount of electricity. So the discussion we have, whenever we've got one, they're gonna be talking to me, and I'm gonna say, you better get close, because if you ask for 500 gigawatts, you're gonna pay for it whether you use it or not, because we have to allocate that through the city. So,
So who reached out to us? Or did we reach out to them? How did this, why is this on our agenda?
because there is an interest to bring data centers to Grantville, and we have to add it to the zoning tables.
So this is your proposal?
Yes,
This is your proposal?
yes.
Okay.
And I'll just say it too, it will benefit the county. They get taxes as well.
But again, this ordinance is just to add the text
This is-
amendment to
this
the
is
zoning
step-
ordinance.
This is step .5.
Yeah,
That transmission study is step 1. If the transmission study comes back and they can't bring it here, game's over. But I have a feeling they can, because I've already talked to them and they pretty much told me, yes. MEAG, this is MEAG. MEAG is doing the study.
MEAG's paying for the transmission study?
The transmission study was paid for by the owner of that piece of property and by the owner of that piece of property.
Or
They wrote the
property
check.
owners? Property owners?
Yes.
So there's no cost to us for anything, right?
Not currently that I see, no. And that's the other key. I know I hear it, oh, well, this company's gonna rake you over the coal. No, not if you know what you're doing and if you negotiate it properly and you stand up for the things you can do. You're the city. You hold the cards.
The trump card.
The trump card, absolutely. And if and they're looking for locations, and I want to put it to it this way as well. You know, as America, we need these data centers. We need them. They need to be built. And we would be absolutely foolish not to take this opportunity if we can put, some of them here and collect that kind of revenue. Absolutely foolish. Because they're going to be built somewhere. And this is, I'd rather have these than truck warehouses. Because I'll tell you, the original thought process on the doctor's property up there was truck warehouses. And I said, you'll never get that. nor can you get over the railroad track. You were in the room, weren't you?
Yeah, that was one of the benefits of the railroad, because they can't bring 18-wheelers over it.
Correct.
This is only vehicle traffic.
Correct, once it's built. Okay, other questions?
And this is being, I was looking in here for the recommendation from the planning commission,
You actually have it right here.
planning commission.
That ordinance is based off the recommendation.
I was looking for the minutes, that's what I was looking for.
It's in the packet.
It's in the packet.
It's page 3
Page 3.
of the packet. We have the 2-page agenda, and then the first one after the agenda is the minutes from the meeting.
Recommended to approve the text amendment, okay. All right.
All right, any other questions? If you come up with any, we have 3 more meetings, or I'll be glad to answer them in person, call me, email me, etc. All right, Mr. Shaver.
The next item for your consideration, Mayor and council members, is discussion on first reading of ordinance number 2025-18 to rezone 5710 Highway 29 Grantville from rural development to general commercial. This is the property of the accounting office, Grantville County, Mr. Cook.
And just kind of as an FYI, I mean, it's on 29, and our plan is that 29 is a commercial corridor.
Well, it was supposed to be rezoned a long time ago when the church was there. We made a special exception for them, and they were supposed to rezone it after 6 months, and then that didn't happen.
Okay, good history, thank you. Okay, questions?
Okay, I have one question. They want to rezone it to, general commercial. Do they have a project that they want to do?
No,
That's
he
all.
wants to sell the property.
Or designation, okay. No.
Any other questions?
The next item for consideration is discussion on resolution number 25-16 to amend resolution 2023-08, adopted in April 24, 2023, City of Grantville, Georgia Personnel Policy Handbook. And you have on your dais a copy of the City of Grantville take-home vehicle policy. That is probably the biggest change to the personnel policies, because we inadvertently left it out. And I'll take the hit on that. We had a vehicle policy just like this prior, and we should have put it in the personnel policy, but we did not. And the rest of the changes are stylistic, although the orientation period is reduced from 6 months to 90 days. If you don't know whether an individual is going to fit into your organization in 90 days, you're not going to know in 6 months. You frankly don't know. So that's our feeling on that.
Okay, discussion.
This take-home vehicle policy was not in It was not included on, we're adding this is a new addition, right?
We passed a vehicle policy, but we did not include it in the handbook. So
Okay.
now it's going to be in the handbook. So you're not holding two pieces of paper. You're gonna hold one, the handbook.
So we approved the policy where, personnel can use city vehicles to run personal errands,
On the way home.
You have to read it in its entirety.
and
Going
they can,
to and from work, they can stop
transport
at
their
the store.
family members. It says transport is okay to transport family members in city vehicle, to do errands. It doesn't even say anything in here about whether or not they, would prohibit the use of, them using a vehicle if they're on a controlled substance, or alcohol or drugs,
That's correct.
and.
We are a drug-free workplace. So we don't put our drug policy in the take-home vehicle policy. Our drug policy stands on its own.
So you don't feel it's necessary to put anything in here that they have to abide by, vehicle laws and any of that? I mean, this
Well,
is kind of strange.
the last portion says, all vehicles in the take-home vehicle program are subject to inspection and/or search at any time. No officer or employee assigned to or operating such a vehicle shall be entitled to any expectation of privacy with respect to the vehicle or its contents. That's basically an open door policy.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, Mr. Shea.
The next item is discussion on resolution number 2025-17 to approve and adopt the agreement with the Georgia Department of Economic Development on behalf of the Georgia Council for the Arts and the City of Grantville and authorizing matching money. This is our $5,000 grant that we got from the Georgia Council of the Arts in conjunction with the Coweta County Library to hold art classes in the library for middle school and high school students. We will have a press release coming out shortly, it's in typing right now, where we will hold 2 art camps in the library, one in December, one in February. They coincide with the school calendar and the availability of the library to host them, where individuals will have the opportunity to learn things about art from a distinguished artist, Millie Gosh, and all supplies will be provided. And frankly, if we have more residents sign up, we'll do our best to accommodate them. But right now, it'll be limited to 20 participants per session. There's one in the morning, one in the afternoon, both in February and December.
discussion?
Are there, is there a matching grant? Is this a matching grant?
Yes, it is.
How much do we,
$5,000 grant, $5,000 matching, dollar for dollar.
is this already in the budget, or do we have to add it?
Pardon me?
Was it already in the adopted budget, this amount, or do we have to add it?
It was in the budget,
It was already in the budget?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Anything else? Okay, Mr. Sherry.
The next item is discussion on a resolution to adopt one-time emergency procedure for the remainder of fiscal year 2025-2026. And I believe this was put on at the request of Councilmember Berry. So I'll let her explain it to you.
Okay.
Okay, the resolution would, I believe the basis for this, we already approved, it was already a motion at the last meeting to approve a one-time credit for utilities if the, person is not able to make their payment in November. If they're not able to make their payment in November, they can have a waiver, that's my understanding. And if they can't make the payment for the bill by the 24th, their utilities will not be cut off. But it was kind of vague as to when will the utilities, when does the November have to be paid? And can it be paid in installments, or it has to be paid a double bill in December? So this resolution is proposing, the late fee would be waived if it's not paid by the 15th. And number two, that no disconnect fees will be charged if it's not paid by the 24th. And number three, that the customer will be given the option to pay one pass-through bill in monthly installments or pay it in full. In other words, they can pay all of it in December, or they can break it up into four to really give them a break, because it's kind of hard if they can't pay it in November. How are they going to be able to make double payment in December? And the other provision, like in number 4, that it would not just affect November if, for instance, they're okay in November, but then they get laid off or federal's shut down and a month to follow that. Then they should be able to utilize this one-time policy for maybe December or maybe for January. And then to make sure that the paperwork is in place, that they submit to the city clerk's office something in writing that states that this is, emergency financial impact and I'm requesting this waiver, so that, that can be kept track of. And we do not have a policy for, because I submitted a request for the policy for the utility company. We don't have one. We don't have a standard operating procedure for the utility department. All decisions, they're not made by a board of directors, which it should be, and we're required to have a board of directors for the utility company. It's made by one individual. Or I don't know who's making the decisions about cutting people's utilities off, or how the rates are going to be charged. It should be done by a board of directors. We do not have a board of directors for our utility company, which is, I don't understand how we can function as a utility company and not have a board of directors. So I'm saying that we appoint a 5-member utility review committee, especially for this waiver that we're trying to do, and that we hire a utility rating specialist, which we are required to do every 5 years, I think, city manager can correct me, I think it's every 5 years we have to hire a utility rating specialist. And, I can't remember when we've done that. So it's probably overdue to have a utility rating specialist review the effectiveness of this utility fee waiver and make a recommendation back to the city council at a regular meeting regarding the effectiveness of this utility. So that is the proposal that I am presenting to be discussed. And I'm, recommending that we consider this policy.
All right, discussion?
I feel like we covered most of that on Monday's meeting, besides all the end stuff about the board of directors and all that, which I don't think really has anything to do with the late fee issue that we're having right now. But I feel like we did this last week.
Last week,
Monday.
did you say
Monday.
last week? Monday?
Yeah.
We decided how the bills would be paid if they're not paid by the 24th. We decided that, it was like a 5-minute meeting. I mean, nothing was explained. And I know that you probably had a discussion with the mayor because it was advertised that you were meeting with the mayor about this and you agreed you're gonna do it. But I was not a part of that. I'm on the utility committee. I'm a member of the council utility committee. Nobody called me. I had no discussion. So I come to a meeting and here's a meeting to waive fees that I have not been part of the discussion. So that's why, one of the reasons I have so many questions is I never get information prior to what's going on. I'll get my input on anything, and I feel that we need to discuss things in public. These private discussions and
So, at the Monday meeting,
emailing and all that.
I believe I covered all that. When I said all we're doing is waiving $25 late fee for November, seeing how the government shutdown's going, and that we would not disconnect customers on the disconnect date in November. However, I stated clearly, but your bills are still due on the 15th. Actually, it's the 17th this month because of the way it falls. And in fact, an email's gonna go out in 2 days to all the customers who haven't paid yet. Your bill is due. Your bill is due. The bill due date hasn't changed. We're just not incurring the penalty this month. If you don't pay, you won't be turned off, but you will be expected to pay the bill, and if you go into December, you're expected to pay all the bill. That's it. And again, based on if this government shutdown ends. But if it ends this week like it looks like it's going to, then in December, you owe by the 15th. If you don't pay, you'll get a $25 fee, and on December the 30th, if you haven't paid, you'll be shut off. Those are the dates. The dates haven't changed. As far as the board of directors, there's nothing in our code or charter or city business that requires a board of directors for the utility business. The council's responsibility is simply approving rates. That's all it states. As far as an audit, we did it last year. ECG does it for us.
They recommended we would go up.
They recommend we go up.
Did not.
Correct.
We stayed
We
down.
stayed the same. We did it last year.
Even though there's a provision in our charter that says that we have a utility review every 5 years, you're saying we don't have to?
No, I said we had one last year. So we've got 4 more years before we need it again. But I will freely tell you, I do analysis of the rates and the bills in the utility business all the time. You can ask Mr. Grisha or ask Robbie or ask Betty Ann, right? And we track how we're doing, and if we needed to increase rates, which we don't, we'd have a discussion about it. We can't get underwater in the utility business. Okay? Anything else?
Okay, so as it stands now, if the customer is not able to pay in November, they pay a double bill in December.
Mhm. As it stands now. Again, we're going to pull the report at the end of November and look at what the damage is. And we will work with customers. We'll decide what that means. Probably we're going to use just our standard payment plan. That's kind of what was discussed today. But we need to see what the actual impact is first.
When you say we will work with customers, who is the we?
City staff,
Staff?
correct, the city staff, the city clerk's office. That's who does it today. Okay, anything else?
No, I don't have anything else right now.
Okay. All right, Mr. Crusader.
The next item is discussion on appointment of Jennifer Walker to the Beautification Board and the Cultural and Events Committee.
She isn't here, but,
But that's the lady we talked to when we were in downtown. She had a booth set up at the locals market selling the candles.
okay, great. All right. Mr. Crusader.
The senior center will close on Friday, November the 14th, for a trip to Buckner's Family Restaurant for the seniors and staff. The senior center will close on Wednesday, December the 10th, for seniors and staff to attend the Coweta County Senior Christmas Luncheon. The senior center will also close the week of December the 22nd through the 26th, because the seniors will be provided frozen and chef stable meals for the days of closure, because they won't have any Meals on Wheels, but the senior center will provide them frozen and chef stable meals. City Hall will be closed tomorrow, November the 11th, for Veterans Day, Thursday, November the 27th, for the Thanksgiving holiday, Wednesday and Thursday, December the 24th and 25th, for the Christmas holidays, and likewise, January the 1st, which is a Thursday, 2026, for the New Year's holiday.
All right, with that, business of the evening is concluded. We are adjourned.
Stay warm, sir.
Yep. You too. Take care.
All right.
All right. Have a nice holiday. Everybody. Did you get the holiday out?
I gotta work.
Are you a veteran?
Mm-mm.
Well, all right, Ronnie, hope you don't freeze.
Thank you.